So the secret that PuppetMaster's been hiding is that you can layer control points in a single cluster for better control. Which leads us to the next assumption, which is that you can store all of the sections in a single cluster. Go to File. We're going to open. We're still inside the PuppetMaster Objects folder. Raptor.wings. We have a fairly complex model here of a dinosaur we all know and love. What we're going to do is split this model up into several PuppetMaster sections, which will split out inside Messiah using meta effectors. The reason I use wings here is it has the ability to split along material edges, so I can cut out all of the sections at once. If you use Lightwave, Fori from the Messiah team wrote a plugin that splits out PuppetMaster sections inside Lightwave. So the first thing we need to do inside Wings is create our materials. Go to Window and Outliner. You'll see we have just Raptor and the default material. If we select a group of these and right-click, you can go to the Material tab. There's nothing there right now. But we can start creating materials inside the outliner. So select Material. We're just going to call this one Tail, which will be our first cluster. Click OK. We'll just click on the diffuse, change the color so it's a different color. Click OK. Make a new material. Call this one Arms. OK. Change the color to something else. New material. Hands. Neck. Material. Head. Material jaw, which we can leave white, or you can just edit the material and change the color again. New material, tongue. Let's see, new material, legs, if we don't have legs yet. New material, feet. And I think that's it for right now. We'll create them as we mess around here. So we'll start up at the head. We'll be in face mode for now. And then change into orthographic view so we can get a full left and right. And use the keyboard options X, Y, Z to switch to the different views. So we'll start with the head. With the tongue. Select the first faces on the tongue. Tap the A key to center your selection, just like in Messiah. Just the plus key on the keypad to grow the selection to the end of the tongue. So right click on that, material, assign that to the tongue. See that the tongue pops up here. Switch back to the X view. Select the top of the head here as much as we can. And let's hide the eye. Use the plus key to grow our selection. You can even shrink the selection with the minus key. And then just click anywhere on the faces that we've missed, or scribble them in to select the rest of the faces. And if you can't select some faces, just zoom in. I'm using the Maya setup where the left, right, and middle mouse button control dolly, pan, and zoom. We're going to move this face all the way to the back part of this neck. Tap the A key to center the selection. Make sure we have the inside of the head selected. Continue scribbling. If you accidentally select something extra, just tap on it again with the mouse key and it'll be deselected. Use the plus key to grow the selection. and then subtract it again to fill in all the holes that you missed inside the selection. That's a nice shortcut. We'll zoom out. Let's double check our work. We need to select this group here. So far it looks good. Right click, add that to our material head. Do the same thing with the jaw. This is the hardest part of setting the whole character up, is just the face, because the face has so many features in it that need to get excluded, like the teeth. We'll select a fairly large portion of the tongue here, and tap the minus key to shrink that selection down. Back to the side view. Select those things that we don't have selected. A key to center your selection. You can pan around this. The beauty to having them selected by material is there can only be one material attached to one group inside wings. So as long as everything is attached to a material, we know that everything is going to get split and equal all of the control points afterwards. Plus, materials are easy to reassign, so if we have a section of mesh that we don't like how it's moving, we can change the material assignment, then resplit them out. So it looks like most of the jaw selected. Looks good. So right click, material, jaw. Well, that was the hardest part. Switch back to a side view. We can select the center part of the neck and then just grow the selection out with the plus key. I want to subtract this ring for the neck cluster. Since we know it's going to smooth the transition, we'll start the transition here. Otherwise, when you lower the neck cluster, it pinches in the chest. Right click, add material to neck. Let's just keep moving down the line here. Select everything on the body. You can be quite sloppy with this because reassignment on materials is quite easy. Just right click material, and we don't have a body shader, so let's create a material, body. And then add that material. Let's select the tail, material, tail. What really matters is the junction points between these two materials. Those are where you're going to have the most tweaking done in the PuppetMaster sections. We're setting up the pipeline first so that we have the ability to adjust these sections afterwards without having to redo our entire Messiah scene. I'm using the plus key to grow the selection out. So if you grow these down to just the before the first knuckle on the feet, and from here let's deselect those around the edge. So this is what we have for the leg. Make sure that the other side looks exactly the same. Tap the A key to center your selection. And if you miss a point, you can go back in and resplit out the mesh. That's okay. Let's right click, add that to the legs material. spacebar to deselect all of your faces. Do the arms. Select a section on the arms. Use the plus key to grow that selection. You can see that I've grown it down to the junction of where the fingers match. So this whole thing will be controlled by a cluster, all the way up to the shoulder area. Assign that to the arms material. Switch back to a side view. Select the fingers. Let's use the plus key to add the fingers. If you can't get the selection correct, just overshoot and it'll eventually even out to an even selection. Then you can just subtract it back. Add that material to the hands. Let's do the same thing with the feet. Switch to a side view. We'll just select all of the toes. Use the A key to center our selection. Use the plus key to grow the selection out. And we can grow them out a little more and then subtract them back down. See, we missed a few here. And we can just go in by hand and assign those to the selection. Also click on ones that are already selected and deselect them. So the hard part here is making sure everything is attached to a material that you know is going to be turned into a cluster. If you have a face that's not attached to a material, it's attached to the default material. So when you split by material edges, it shows up as a floating piece of geometry. Which of course is easily fixed here. Let's add those to the foot material. And I think we have all of our selections attached. And you can continue further down the road. You can add a shoulder material or a front thigh material for a front thigh cluster, etc. We'll just keep it simple now and keep the materials in wide ranges. Let's go to File, and we're going to save this wings scene as Raptor2.wings. Save.